overall, this is a really cool toy. Hey, I'm Marcus, and today we're going to be reviewing the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, mostly shot on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This won't take long. All right, so I'm out here in Boulder, Colorado, just walking on the Boulder Creek path, and we wanted to talk a little bit about the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and kind of do it in the way that it is suited to do, which is more or less vlog style. So rather than sitting in the studio and discussing, most of this is actually going to be outside talking to the camera to discuss what we think about it. It's a really cool device. It's really a fun idea. The way you turn it on and off, just flipping the screen, is honestly really cool and really satisfying. And it's near instantaneous. So you can flip it up and be to recording insanely fast. The screen is nice and large. I can't remember the exact dimensions, but it's a really nice screen to look at while you're shooting. I can see the whole 16:9 image, no problem. I can see what I'm framed, and it's nice and bright. Even out in direct sunlight, it's nice and clear. Great picture. So overall, this is a really cool toy. Honestly, I kind of hate to just start off like that, but that's what it feels like, is a really, really cool toy. There's not a lot of use cases for the Osmo Pocket 3. You feel a little bit nervous sticking it in your pocket. It feels like you're going to break off the gimbal, at least it does to me. I know that the gimbal, when you close the screen, it turns off and it locks the gimbal in place, which is way better than the previous model, which is, this is the one. You can see the gimbal just flies loose. The new one doesn't do that. It locks in place so that it's sturdy, but you still feel like you shouldn't just slip it in a pocket. It doesn't feel safe in there. It makes me nervous about it. It makes it feel like it is not as sturdy as, let's say, a GoPro, which, let's be honest, this is a competitor for the GoPro, even if they're not calling it that. Even if they're not calling it an action camera, it is 100% an action camera that is competing with the GoPro. DJI has active track in a lot of their stuff, like their drones. This has active track built in, and this whole time that I've been recording myself walking, I've had active track turned on. So I haven't really been paying attention to where the gimbal's facing. As I move it around, it's following me on its own, regardless of where I'm pointing the handle. Now let's talk a little bit of ergonomics as well. This camera, as it comes out of the package, as it just comes default purchase, it is honestly terrible. Form factor is absolutely terrible. At least for my hands. Maybe I just have bigger hands, but it's honestly, it doesn't fit in your hand properly, but it's so small. And to hit these buttons, and on the Pocket 3, there's actually a built-in joystick, which is cool because you can move the gimbal around on your own and point it where you want it to go. But if you just bought the camera itself, it's terrible. You wouldn't be able to do it actively with one hand, not comfortably. You'd have to get really used to non-ergonomic design in order to utilize that function. Now, the additions you can get, for example, the expanded handle battery and the little expanded tripod mount, that makes it very usable. It makes it long enough that you can hold it really easily in one hand, access all the buttons, all of the functions. You can flip the screen, no problem. I think that the whole package here is designed towards vlogging. And frankly, if you're looking for a vlog camera, you get the full bundle that has the microphone, which I have it under my jacket right now because it's so windy, and it also has the dead cat attachment on it. Yeah, I mean, this is an amazing vlogging rig. I am ashamed to admit I used to vlog. And this would have been a game changer. It's sweet. There's a single button to flip the screen around and show what you're looking at. You can flip it back around just as easily. It's clean, it's smooth. The gimbal, as you can see, I've been walking this whole time. The gimbal works great. So there's not a lot to complain about with this. It's just that it doesn't have the use functions, the use cases that I would like to see from a $500+ camera. It's more like a novelty, a really awesome novelty that a lot of people are going to make a lot of awesome content with. I don't know, I'm torn on this thing. It's a lot of fun. I would not ever tell someone it's a bad camera. I would not tell someone that it's a bad choice to purchase, but I just don't know that it's often the right choice. I want it to be more than it is, and that's probably on me. As long as you understand the limitations of this device, as long as you understand what you want to use for it, I think it's going to be a great camera, and I think you're going to absolutely love it. So I've talked a little bit about some of the features and some of my thoughts on this camera. Why don't we hop into the studio? I'll talk a little bit more about it there. It does have a low light mode. You can see here, I was walking my dogs. I shot this clip right here without the low light mode turned on. It's 4K 60. Now here is with the low light mode turned on, it is 4K 30. So some of that lighting change you actually get just by decreasing the frames per second, but it also has a dedicated low light mode. It's really not bad. Honestly, both of them are usable. They're not great. You can see a little bit of the noise, but the noise looks more like grain versus digital artifacting. So I would be perfectly comfortable using either of these. This is well after sunset. You can kind of see the color in the sky still, but you can tell it's dark outside. Now, a feature that this has that no other camera has is the ability to do a motion time lapse. So it has a default setting that you can literally click, I want a left to right time lapse, I want it to last this long, this many shots per second. It has things that it recommends if you're trying to do fast motion like crowds, or if you're trying to do clouds, you can select those defaults and it will give you the best results that it thinks. But you can also set custom motion points. So if you want it to move top left to bottom right or top to bottom, however you want to do it, you can customize those tracking points and set a time lapse with this camera, and the gimbal moves to get the time lapse for you, which is really, really cool. This is the most fun camera I have ever used that I will never use again. I absolutely love this, but I'm not going to use it. I don't even know how. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating because I love it. It's a great design. It's not a bad camera. It does pretty well in low light, but I'm just not going to use this over a GoPro or over my iPhone, or if I really want something good, then I'm going to grab my Sony. If this is the only camera you own, you're probably going to love it. If you own a bunch of cameras, this is probably the one you're never going to grab. Now, where does it sit on the BCC Live report card? Well, manual, no manual. This one actually, you can go no manual, pull it right out of the box, it starts working. It works easily, it's not hard to figure out. But if you want to use some of the cool features like active track, I actually had to Google how to do active track. There wasn't anywhere indicated how to do it. I'm gonna call this manual. Now an out of 5 score. I'm gonna give this 3 out of 5 Chicky Teds. That might seem low, maybe it should be 3.5, but it just didn't impress me. Like I've said, it's a cool toy. It's a really cool toy, but it's not the camera I'm gonna use for just about anything. Now, save seller scrap, we're gonna save this. We still feel like there's gotta be a niche out there that we can find the right spot for this camera. There's gotta be somewhere where this camera is perfect and it's awesome. And we wanna find that because I want to love this camera. So we're gonna save it, but it's only a 3 out of 5. I love it, but it's not very useful. I don't know. Do I recommend it? If you have a bunch of other cameras, no. If you want a novelty, yes. If this is the only camera and you know what you're going to use it for, yes. That's it for this time on This Won't Take Long. This was our review of the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Be sure to follow us on all the socials, and we will see you next time. DJI Mic 2, DJI. You ever say something long enough that it stops to lose meaning? Starts to lose meaning? Starts to lose meaning.